The update on the different types of gins, fruit gins that I was faffing around with. So I think I'm going to strain them off. I think they've been going long enough. So I just kind of need to decide what I want to do. So that's that one there. That's the one that I added. I had to end up adding more gin to because it was far too sweet. So let's have a taste of that. Quite pale actually. It's lost the radical. It's quite strong. It's quite strong as that. But I can't decide if I want to just strain it off and bottle it up, or I want to puree what fruits left in there to kind of extract flavour and alcohol from them. Because I think I was given some gin infused fruit that was a byproduct of my friends making some fruit gins, and it was kind of like the fruit was kind of quite nice, but you could squeeze extra juice out of it. So I haven't just quite decided yet. So I think I will probably strain them off and then puree the fruit separately, and then kind of strain that and kind of see how that kind of tastes. So this was the pomegranate one that I was most kind of pleased with because it kind of kept the colour. That one over there has kind of lost a bit of its. The pomegranates have lost a bit of the colour, but these are kind of still vibrant. This one was so it was 375 grams of pomegranate seeds, 125 grams worth of sugar, and 300 grams worth of gin. And I reckon that works out at 37% gin in there. And the gin's about 40%, so we're probably looking at about 18% alcohol. Kind of, is my calculations right there? I think so. I think my calculations are about right there. Because I'll go on the assumption that everything is absorbed into each other. So now the pomegranates have taken some of the alcohol and they've given juice back into the alcohol, and the sugar's gone into the pomegranate seeds and gone into the alcohol. So it's kind of, now everything is at, so it's lessened the effect, it's lessened the percentage of the alcohol. Even there's still the same amount of gin in there, but we've put other things in there, so it kind of lessens the flavour of everything. But and then this is the 100% alcohol one. So this was 300 grams of pomegranates, 100 grams of sugar, and 100 grams worth of alcohol. So that's taken that down to so a fifth of that is the pure alcohol in kind of weight and kind of content. So it should be down to about 20%. That tastes a lot stronger than 20%. Nice though. Nice though. So I kind of just need to decide if I want to. I'm going to strain them off, and then I'll do one. So yes, we'll do that one camera, but we'll kind of go through the others first. So lids back on those for a little bit. Out of the way. So yeah, I'll probably end up mixing 3 pomegranates together out of interest, and then we've kind of got to kind of see how it is, and it'll be a kind of different strength, but it was just a kind of a bit of fun. And then this was the Prickly Pear. It's a lovely colour. Look at that for a colour. I just don't think when I tasted it last time, it wasn't that nice. Yeah, it's just a bit, there's no kind of real depth of flavour to it. I mean, it's a beautiful colour, there's just no kind of depth of flavour to it. So, what does the fruit taste like? I don't know. I'll still bottle it up. We'll strain it off and we'll bottle it up. I don't think I'll puree the fruit. I think I'll just bottle it off and see how it happens. What happens. And this is the Hawthorn gin. So this was nice, kind of like the day after, and probably because I pureed up the Hawthorns. So it's kind of very silty, and it's kind of like gone a golden colour, where it was like a nice reddy colour when it first started. So that's obviously down to me squishing the Hawthorns, but ooh, that's still good. The Hawthorns have lost the kind of flavours being bleached out by the what we call it, by the gin. So it's lost that. The red's kind of gone into that. I don't think. Let's try a Hawthorn. No, there's no point. There's no kind of flavour in those Hawthorns. There's no point squeezing the excess juice out of those Hawthorns. What I'll do is I'll just simply strain that off, and then we'll bottle it up, and then we'll kind of mature it for a little bit longer. But if I'm honest, I really want to do Hawthorn gin again next year, when the Hawthorns are just overly ripe on the bush. I think those will be. I think that'll be absolutely delicious. So let's get those out. And then we'll move that and that back and that, and then we'll strain this out. So we need that, and we need, of course, I'm prepared as always. So we need that. So we'll kind of see what we'll be able to see what yield we get. So this was the 375 grams worth of pomegranate seeds, 125 grams worth of sugar, and 300 grams worth of. I suppose we should weigh it as well. I'll do it that way. See what kind of weight we've got. Well, the litres should be fine. So we'll say how much we've got in litres roughly, and we'll see how much we've got in weight roughly. So in litres, well, in millilitres, we've got about 500 millilitres with a pomegranate liqueur in there. And then what have we got in weight? In weight, 514. Okay, so you would automatically assume that weight of a liquid and volume are the same, but different liquids have a specific gravity, which kind of changes the weight. So some things are a lot heavier in a liquid form than other things that are heavier in a liquid form. Something, this is completely off subject, but something like antifreeze is a liquid but a lot heavier than water. So that's what we've got that. So I need to decide if I want to what's going to happen if I puree those fruits. So I don't want to puree in with that. See, that's nice and crystal clear. That's nice and crystal clear. So let's just puree that. Press that on there. We'll get the blender out and we'll puree that up, and we'll see what kind of juice we get out of that, and if it's worth adding to back to that. Puree that, strain that, see if it's worth adding back to that. If it's kind of worth it. And if we turned it on, it might be helpful. All a bit technical. There's a jug. It's always handy if you're faffing in the kitchen to have yourself lots of jugs. Now, do I want to use a cloth? I do think we'll try it through there first. no need to make a mess of a cloth. And a bit of a spatula, and then we can kind of decide. And then it might take a little while to kind of filter all these pomegranates and things, so we can just have a bit more at the end of the video and deciding kind of what we need to do. So yeah, we're certainly getting some liquid out of there. It's cloudy, so it means I'm going to have to strain it through some kind of filter. We just get the bulk of the pulp out. But yeah, so I turned the fruit that my friends gave me, the fruit infused gin. I got the fruit from the fruit infused gin, the gin infused fruit, and I turned it into a Christmas cake, and it is delicious. It's like the best Christmas cake I've ever tasted. So I think there's always going to be a little more flavour in things. Right, let's leave it at that, and then we'll give that a taste. See if it's worth straining it. The flavour in there compared to that. Yeah, I think that's going to improve that. So, well, there's not much. What is there? 100 millilitres. Mind you, if you're doing a lot, if you're kind of making like a couple of kilos worth of fruit, then you're certainly going to get a lot of liquid out of those. So I think what we'll do is we'll have a go at filtering that and kind of see how that kind of turns out. Yes, that's what we'll do. We'll have a go at filtering that through some, I think, kitchen paper to start off with, and then kind of get as much out of that. But that still might just give that pulp a squeeze in a kind of cloth. So that's where I'm kind of going to be at. So we'll come back and we'll filter some stuff, and then we'll kind of decide if we want to add all the 3 pomegranates together, and then we've kind of got like we'll do another testing. So I'll pause, we'll strain some stuff, and I'll kind of see I've made myself a right job if I'm going to be straining these, but we'll kind of see how we go. It's all just a bit of fun, isn't it? Right, I have put the pure liquids back in the jars, and I have pureed the fruit to kind of extract more juice out of them. As you can kind of see here, this is the one from the pure alcohol, well, 96%, and the sediment's going down to the bottom, and we're left with some liquid on the top. So I'm going to let that settle overnight, and that's the one from the second batch that I had to add more gin to, and that's from the first batch. So that first one's the nicest because it had the nicest pomegranates in it, and then the kind of pure alcohol one, it's got a bit of a punch to it. It's kind of quite nice. So what I'm thinking I will do is that I will mix the 3 at the back together, and then we'll get like a nice, quite strong liqueur. And I'm thinking that I'll put it through a coffee paper into like a coffee filter paper into before I put it in the bottles, and measure how much I've got, pour it through a filter, and then we'll kind of judge if these are, because I want it's those at the back are kind of quite clear, and I think if we start putting those in, it's going to become a little bit murky. But I think we'll wait until the sediment goes down to the bottom of these, and then we'll have a look at them in the morning, and can decide what we're going to do with them. I think we'll mix. The sediment will go down to the bottom. I think what's left on top, I think I'll probably end up mixing the liquid together, and then putting that in the container and see if it kind of settles out. This is the Prickly Pear, so it's a lovely colour. It tastes okay. It tastes okay. See what it tastes like after it's had the fruit out of it. Yeah, it's all right, but it's a bit. There's no kind of complexity to it all. It's all a bit It's all a bit, you know. And then this is that's the Hawthorn, which is my favourite. It's lost a bit of its colour. We'll leave it overnight and see if anything kind of settles down. But that can go in a bottle tomorrow. I don't think it will go through a coffee paper. I think it'll take forever to go through a coffee paper but we might just kind of have a faff around with that and kind of see how it goes. So that's where we're at. I'll sort out some bottles and I'll give them a wash and sterilise them, and then we'll bottle up tomorrow, and then we'll kind of see. Right, so they have settled quite a lot, but still not crystal clear. That one's really kind of quite cloudy. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to put the ones at the back through a coffee filter to kind of get as much sediment out as possible. There won't be too much sediment in the ones in the back, but I think I'm not going to add those to the ones at the back because it will send them cloudy. So I might just see how far I can get with the filtering of these three at the front. I'm going to mix them. Although, what does that one there taste like? Nice, but nothing spectacular. So, can you see? I've got a coffee paper in there, so we'll see if these filter kind of relatively easily. I think it should do. Yeah, it looks like it's filtering relatively straightforward. So we'll filter those like that, and then that will get as much, if there is any kind of sediment or little bits, that'll get that out. So we can do that out of the way gently, and then let's have a see about, no, let's do the really cloudy one. Let's do the really cloudy one, and we'll just so it'd be a case, I'll have to use a teaspoon, but there's like that with some kitchen paper in, so we'll kind of see how that works out. Some's coming through. Okay, so we'll carry on with that process. That's going to be a bit of a time-consuming type of thing. So we'll just kind of have to see. I don't know if it's, yeah, it looks like it's a little bit clearer, but we'll just kind of see. I'll keep filtering and we'll see what happens. Right, everything has been filtered through a coffee paper. So everything, including the stuff that was kind of quite cloudy as well. I've mixed the three pomegranates together. Oh, and I need to say now that the pomegranate liqueur that I made with the really strong alcohol, the yield from that was 250 milliliters. So that's kind of quite interesting that it made that much. I've mixed the three pomegranate ones together. It's a beautiful colour and crystal clear. There will obviously be a little bit of sediment that sets over time, but a delicious colour, and it was kind of quite nice as well. I owe my friends some of it, so that's gone into a small bottle, which I'll take to them. And then there was that's a litre, and then that's just a little part one as well. So we can use that for the tasting, and then that can be, I'll mature that further, and we'll kind of stick it in the cupboard, and then we'll kind of use it for something along those lines. So that was delicious. That really kind of worked. I was kind of thinking that of an improvement to it, but maybe when I make some again, I'll try something else out as well. So those are the pomegranates. This is the Hawthorn. The yield was 500 milliliters, so I forget how much gin went into it. So the Hawthorn, there was 400 milliliters of gin, 100 grams of sugar, and 300 grams worth of Hawthorns. So it looks like the yield is dependent on the amount of sugar and gin that goes into it. So there's like 500 grams worth of sugar and gin combined, and it's just taken on the flavour from the Hawthorns. Because there wasn't that much juice in the Hawthorns. It's a bit cloudy, even though I filtered it through some kitchen paper and then some a coffee filter paper. But I'm thinking that over time, what will happen is that will clear up. But even if it doesn't, it tastes delicious. So that's going to be kind of quite interesting to see how that matures. Then this is just the Prickly Pear, which isn't, now it's been filtered, kind of tastes a little bit better than it did. I'm not going to waste it anyway. There will be something that I'll put it in. I'll faff around with a dessert or something, and if I'll need some alcohol to kind of use to go into something, and I don't want to use something that I potentially drink myself, I can use that. So that's fine. So that's not going to get wasted. And then these are the two, the cloudy bits from the pomegranate. So that was the juice. When I pureed them, and it was like to kind of see if I could extract any more kind of flavour. But I didn't want to add those to the pomegranates because I didn't want it to become cloudy. I'd rather it was nice and crystal clear. Even though potentially it would be a different kind of flavour. But I'm not going to waste those either. I'm going to put them in some jars. So that was from the 100% alcohol, well, with 96% alcohol, and for the those nice pomegranate seeds. And that one is from the not so good. Well, they're still nice pomegranate seeds, but they weren't just as vibrant. So that's the one from the vibrant ones. And we'll see if those settle in time and if they become clear. I think they will do. I'm just going to leave them in the cupboard. And once again, I will use those at some point for something. If I'm making a trifle, like a red fruit trifle or something like that, or something along those kind of lines that require some kind of alcohol soaking into some sponge or some fruit, I'll just use those up for that. So that's not going to get wasted either. Have I got anything else? I think that's about it. Yeah, so kind of a success. Apart from the filtering kind of stuff, but that was most of the faff with that was with those two. But didn't take that much to filter the pomegranate. You know, you just kind of put it through kitchen paper and then through a coffee paper, and it turns out kind of quite. It was quite clear anyway. So you don't have to do that. You just kind of have to strain it out from the pomegranates, and then bottle it up. So just a different method of making a pomegranate liqueur. So that's kind of quite interesting. I think that's it. I don't think I've got anything else to say. Yeah, so they're just going to live in the back of the cupboard, and we'll kind of see what happens to those over time. We might lose a bit of colour. Hopefully these will clear up. It's a nice colour as that. It's just a shame. Can we just see? It's a nice kind of colour. It's got so hopefully if that cleared, it'd look kind of quite spectacular. I suppose you can see it just there, but kind of like an orange kind of colour, a burnt orange kind of colour looks particularly nice. And hopefully those will clear up. And if they do clear up, then we'll add it into the sediment will collect down the bottom, and we can mix things in. But I think that's it. No, nothing else to add. That's it. Yeah, so pretty good. I'm pretty happy.